it's Tarashi here, and we are here with the speed build for our house for our Four Immortal Sisters challenge. I'm so excited to be starting this challenge with you guys, and honestly, I kind of figured that the best way to go about introducing you to the rules to this challenge would be to just talk about it while the speed build's going. Now, I will forewarn you now that as I'm talking about each sister, more than likely, I will not be working on her room at the same time that I'm talking about that particular sister. So just a reminder, there is a sister for each of the four elements: fire, air, water, and earth. So I figured I would just start this by restating a few things that I had stated in my cast video. If you guys watched that, I figured I would just kind of talk about what each sister is allowed to do, what their main role is in this challenge, and just talk about the skills that they're allowed to do again. So the fire sister is allowed to leave the lot whenever she wants. Her main job is to search out men and women and develop a relationship with them, and she is the one who is going to bear children. Just to reiterate, in this challenge, one of our main goals is for us to basically repopulate the town with the Fire Sisters' children. That is one of the main goals, so that's why she is meant to bear children. Now, she is also allowed to bring one man or one woman home each night and try for a baby, but she can only try for a baby once every 24 hours. So, if she tries for a baby and she's not pregnant, we have to wait an entire day for her to even be able to try again. She is also meant to make friends with people that we want to lure into our cowplants trap. Now you see this little area underneath the glass roof that I'm currently building around. That is the area where we are going to be putting our cowplants. Now, since our job is going to be to repopulate the town with the fire signs children, we first also have to get rid of the rest of the town by basically sacrificing them to our cow plants to make the essence of life, which will make our sisters immortal. And yeah, that's one of the big things we're going to be doing. Now, I decided that I was going to make this area where I could actually lock those people in there, because cow plants have to be fed once every 12 hours, and sometimes it takes several attempts to even get the cow plant to actually eat somebody. So if the cow plant spits them back up, we have to wait another 12 hours for them to attempt to be eaten again. The fire sister is only allowed to work on skills like charisma and mixology. Since she is going to be luring people in, we really want her charisma skill to be very high, so that way it makes it easier for us. Moving on to the air sign, she is known as the Keeper of Knowledge. One of the things in her area in this house is that she has a study. So she's also the one who's going to be teaching and tutoring and helping the kids with their homework once they have reached school age. So one of the things I decided to add in her room was this little homework nook for when they're there to do homework. But the skills that she's allowed to work on is logic, writing, any musical skill, painting, and rocket science. So she's very creative, but also very smart as well. But one of the things that I'm going to have her do is be a writer. That way we get daily income from whatever books she writes and stuff like that. But she also is going to be teaching kids other skills. So that's why there's other skill building items for kids in her area specifically for that. Moving on to the water sign, the water sister is the caretaker of the kids in the house. So once the kids are born, she then takes over for the fire sister and raises the babies, raises the toddlers, and all of the kids will continue sleeping in her area of the house. Another thing that she's responsible for is all the cooking, all the cleaning, and repairing anything that breaks. So she's got a lot that she's got to do daily. So obviously that means that the skills that she's allowed to work on is cooking and handiness. That's all she's allowed to work on. And I do have parenthood, so more than likely another skill that she'll end up gaining with doing all of this is parenting skill. So I can't really control whether she gets that or not unless I were to completely uninstall Parenthood each time I were to start this up, and I'm not going to do that. That's a skill that we can't control, and so that doesn't count. Moving on to the last sister, which is the Earth sister. She is going to be our gardener and our fitness master. She's going to be responsible for growing the food, fishing to sell or eat, and once the kids are teenagers, she can start training them in athletics. So we do have a greenhouse set up in her area. So I'm assuming for the most part this means that we'll be growing a lot of the food to some extent, but there's nothing in the rules against us actually just buying the ingredient to make food like we normally would. But honestly, it could really save us some money if we already have the ingredients fresh and we don't have to actually spend money that way. So we'll just kind of play that part by ear. But um the Earth Sister is also allowed to leave the lot whenever she wants to go fish or search for cowplant seeds, which is what is going to grant us immortality, as we have already discussed. That's the main reason she's allowed to leave, is to go fishing or to search for cowplant. But once we have all 4 cowplants, she won't have to leave for that. But according to the rules that I've found, it didn't actually list any skills that she's meant to work on, but just judging based on what she's allowed to do, I would assume the skills she's allowed to work on would be gardening, fishing, and fitness. But in regards of our goal for this challenge, the whole thing is for us to repopulate the town with Fire Sisters children. So basically we don't want any more townies left. But we also need to make sure that our sisters don't die before that happens. So we need them to be immortal by milking the cow plants and gaining that essence of life to reduce the amount of days left until they age up. That's essentially how they're becoming immortal. But the way to win this challenge is to either completely replace all of your townies with the Fire Sisters kids, or you just get tired of doing it. That is from the official rules, by the way. That's exactly how they worded it. But a few other rules that we have is that only 2 sisters may have an outside job. The other sisters have to have a means of making money on the lot, or otherwise they can't leave the lot. Let's just leave it at that. So the official rules said to choose carefully which sisters will go to a job. For example, the water sister will have to take care of kids, so she's not a good candidate for somebody to have a job. Also, any social skills or other skills that are gained through an uncontrollable event, such as talking with other Sims, that is okay, but they cannot practice their charisma skill at a mirror, for example. So basically, if they accidentally gain a skill, that is fine, but if it's not one of their allowed skills to work on, then that's not allowed at all. They're only allowed to work on the skills that they were given. Otherwise, it has to be through a means of an uncontrollable event that allowed them to gain that skill. Another rule that we have is that if one of our cow plants dies, we need to replace that cow plant as quickly as possible, but of course our sisters can't gain immortality if they don't have the cow plant. So to some extent, part of me feels like that rule shouldn't have to be stated, but anyway, I've talked all about the sisters and all about the rules for this challenge, and I've barely talked about the build. I mean, I've talked about the build a little bit, but not a whole lot. So, with the build, we were allowed to decorate as we wished. We had free reign. It's just each element had to have its own location. So that's why I sectioned it off into this is this sister's area, this is this sister's area, stuff like that. We were allowed to cheat our money however we needed to furnish it. We have to start the challenge with 1,000 simoleons, and we cannot buy any luxury items outside of like splurging a little bit on certain items that each sister must have. Sisters are allowed to go in each other's areas, but they cannot sleep there and they cannot take responsibility one another. So for example, the fire sister cannot take care of the kids. The air sister cannot cook. So basically, if it is outside of their role and their responsibilities of this challenge, they're not supposed to do it. But the luxury items that I was talking about was that each sister had to start off with certain furniture. Like the fire sister was required to start off with a double bed, a fireplace, a bar, and a bathroom. The water sister had to have a kitchen, a bathroom, a bed, kids' room or rooms, depending on how you want to do it, and children's toys. The air sister was required to have a study, so that includes a computer and bookshelves, a bedroom, a bathroom, a kid's learning objects. So this was like what I was talking about with having a homework area, a drawing table, a one of the science kits. I included a child's violin. Just different things like that that helps the kids build up some skills. And then the Earth Sister had to have a bed, exercise equipment. I included a treadmill and a punching bag in her room, the gardening objects, and a bathroom. So she wasn't required to have a separate bedroom like her other sisters. Her and the water sister both were not required to have a separate bedroom. It just says bed. So with both of them, their beds ended up being in like the main space of their bedrooms. Just simply because I wasn't sure where else to put them. But honestly, they're not really gonna have, the Earth sister isn't really gonna have too many kids coming in and out of her room until they're teenagers. The water sister is always gonna be surrounded by kids all the time, and the main area kind of is her one little space away from the kids. So I didn't feel like it was as important for me to set aside in a space that was specifically her bedroom. Not to mention, I did not make these areas quite big enough to do that. So that's my bad on that part. And I could have readjusted things, but that would have meant messing around with the roofing again. And I had a lot of trouble with the roof. I can't even tell you how much trouble I had with the roof. I probably spent 2 hours alone on just trying to do the roof. I did not want to mess with it again. So I'm sure you guys can not blame me for that after knowing that fact. This is also the exact same reason why I decided to completely cut out showing how I even did the roofing, because I spent so long trying to get it just right and I could not get it right for whatever reason. So I just gave up on it. Honestly, I just got it as close as I could to how I was sort of picturing it in my head and just went with what I got, which is what you guys saw at the very beginning. But I don't know, it just didn't feel as important for her to have her own separate space. Now, obviously, should she? Yes, but let's be real, she's not going to get her own personal space. Even if she had her own personal space, it would always be invaded by children. it just wasn't going to happen. It was not in the cards for her. But I really would like to hear y'all's opinions about who should be doing what work exactly. Honestly, what I was thinking was our air sister would be a writer, which I guess we could do her as like a freelancer, which means she would work from home. So we could do that. Earth, honestly, the same thing. I mean, we could have her be a botanist and she could go to work every single day, but at the same time, she doesn't have to. Honestly, even with the ones who do end up going to work, I kind of feel like most of them are going to end up having a job where they could actually do it from home. It's not necessarily one that they have to leave the house to do. So I guess I just want some opinions from you guys about what kind of jobs you would prefer to see the sisters do. If we should just have only two of them have work from home type jobs and just go with that, or if you have some ideas about which sisters should do what jobs. Now, obviously, the only one we can't really talk about that with is the water sister, just simply because she is responsible for taking care of the kids. She's not going to have time for a job, not with everything that she's required to do. Um, I don't have any ideas for what our fire sister could do for a job. If you guys have any ideas, I would love to hear those. Like I said, with air, we could have her be a writer. We could even have her do the painter career, but do writing on the side. The earth sister, we could have her do like the gym training or botanist or something like that. But if we had her do botanist, at least we could send her to work on days where we don't really have a whole lot for her to do, or we can just have her work from home. I mean, that would be completely our choice. We wouldn't have to worry about it. But I would love to hear y'all's opinions in the comments down below. And I would also love to hear if you guys are looking forward to this series. So please leave those in the comments down below. And remember that I post a new video every single Monday, and I've been posting more on Fridays lately, but not always. If you're looking forward to this series, make sure you're subscribed to the channel and you have your notification bell turned on so that way you are notified whenever this new Let's Play goes live. But I will see you all next time. Bye, guys.